What I wanted to talk about. So if you are working with sellers who may have HELOCs, then this message is for you, because this is a pattern that I'm noticing in Memphis, and I think it's nationally. So stick with me. In 2020, when there was a frenzy in the market and everyone was figuring out, how am I going to have two offices because we both work from home, and where are the kids going to do schoolwork? People were quickly realizing they either needed more space or less space. They either fell in love more with each other or decided, I can't stand you, I need to divorce you. All the while all that was happening, rates were at like 2, 3, crazy, right? However, there was a group of people that were like, screw that. I'm not jumping into that dumpster fire, and I'm not jumping in with 35 people paying $50,000 more for a house, and like, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to sit tight, and I'm going to get a HELOC and use the equity that I've gained from owning this house, and I'm going to put a dumpster in the front of my yard, and I'm going to do some renovations. I'm going to add a pool. I'm going to add a sunroom. I'm going to add another car garage. I'm going to do some major renovations, like 100K plus renovations, which was great when the HELOC rate was prime plus 1 or prime period. For those of you that don't know, prime is whatever the federal interest rate is plus whatever the bank is charging, plus 1 or whatever. So for a lot of people, the interest rate was 4%, 3%. So for simple math purposes, if you borrow $100,000 and the interest rate is 3, then your mortgage payment is $300. That's great, right? But then in 21, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the HELOC rate shot up to like 7, 8, 9 plus %, which also made the payment double, and in some cases triple. So that $100,000 HELOC payment of $300 principal only or interest only was now $900 interest only. What does that mean? That means that you have to give $900 before you put a dip in the principal, which means you're now trying to pay $2,000 a month instead of maybe $500 a month to chip away at that principal. And over time, you're going to feel like, man, this is becoming unsustainable because everything else is really expensive. And so what we're finding more and more are sellers saying, I really don't want to sell because I have a great interest rate, but the HELOC payment's killing me. We can no longer afford simple things now, and our life is changing, and we're realizing that we're never going to have less than a 7% interest on this HELOC, and it's going to take us a million jillion years. And so we'd rather just sell our house and buy something smaller and accept the 6% rate, because the 6% rate is cheaper than the HELOC payment rate. So if you haven't already started to see that or feel that in the market, you will. I have a strong feeling that you will. And it's very important to pair yourself with a trusted lender to be able to guide these people through this next chapter. So I think inventory is showing up. It's going to start to creep in. We're having in some areas a higher days on market, and the market's definitely shifting. And in some zip code, that's already a buyer's market. That's just what's happening. And in some markets in Memphis, it's still sellers, but it's slowing down. So love to know what's happening in your market.